Mr. Schober, let me come to you first. Is what I describe in the novel becoming reality for us?
Yes, it is a reality now, especially after these recent revelations that Wikileaks puts out there about the CIA and their capabilities. I think especially alarming to myself and many others too, when we think about our television sets, our smart TVs. Everything nowadays is connected on the internet. We hear of the Internet of Things, and consumers have this appetite to plug everything into the internet, remote monitor and connect and download. That advanced capability that we now all appreciate and enjoy for convenience of things can actually be used against us. So if the CIA wanted to listen in or spy on us, they could certainly do that without us even realizing it. And that to me was a big revelation. Now, reality is the CIA watching everybody and listening in from our smart devices and smart TVs? No, it's unlikely. It's the fact that they have the capability to do that is what is so concerning, because that kind of steps over into the privacy issue. Rather, what are they really doing with that capability? It's probably targeted individuals that they need to spy on and gain information. That's the difference.
Yeah, some people are saying, they're saying that, look, as you said, the CIA is not going to watch everybody around the world. What they're doing, or what they're aiming to do, is to guarantee security or safety for American citizens. So in case you have some suspicious conversation or information, you can trace that person down so that it doesn't inflict harm on the United States. Does that justify what the CIA is potentially doing here?
Well, no, I don't think so. That's probably stepping over.
Yes, go ahead if you want, Mr. Schober.
I was just going to say briefly, I'm sorry, it seems like they're stepping over when they're saying that. So no, that's not the case. That's beyond the limits there, the capability that they're going to be exploiting and taking on. And in addition, it's sharing that information, the hacking techniques, not just within the government agencies, but more important, the hacking community. That's where now that information is out. That's the bigger concern. They can't control the hackers. So when the hackers have access to this information, which they now do, it's very dangerous for everybody globally.
Qinduo, tell us, how concerned are you about this incident, both on a technical and legal sense and on a political sense?
Well, I think there's a distinction for people living inside the United States and people living, say, in Beijing or Moscow. People living in the United States, probably the concern is really about privacy, whether there is invasion from the government agencies into our own personal privacy. But for people living, especially governments and national leaders of other countries, as we know from 2013 Snowden case, that like if you are national leaders of Germany, Brazil, Indonesia, your personal phone can be listened in on, and also your email box can be hacked into. That's not an issue about the legal or beyond legitimacy. It's really about the national security issue. It's more serious, I would say.
Well, at this moment, people have the impression that, it's no news anymore. I mean, we have heard about it. The NSA, it's outrageous what the US is able to do out there, but still, we seem to be getting used to something that is already becoming norms here. Mr. Schober, is that where we're going? I mean, is there any turning point potentially in sight for the privacy or the rights of people in other parts of the world to be screened from this kind of violation from the United States?
Yeah, you make a great point. In my opinion, I think what's happened, especially in America and probably other countries too, many people have traded convenience for privacy and security and vice versa. So they'll opt oftentimes to be convenient to use a device or free email or whatever the case may be, and they give up this perceived privacy and security. In reality, we really don't have the privacy that we believe we have. And after the revelations from Snowden, what do we notice? There's been a big push on end-to-end encryption, especially on smartphone devices. And many people have gravitated toward WhatsApp with well over 1 billion users, or Signal or other messaging apps. One that I use is SquealLock. So it's got end-to-end encryption, and it makes it very difficult for somebody to eavesdrop on that conversation. There were some misreports that saying that CIA can can hack into it and bypass the encryption. It was not exactly true. It was a little bit misreported. They can place malware, malicious software on smartphones, and what they could do is place what's called a keylogger, and every keystroke that you type in on your smartphone or your mobile device, it could record that, and that's how they could actually get the content. They were really not breaking any encryption or bypassing it from that standpoint. So you could use something as simple as an anti-keylogger to protect every keystroke, and that will help certainly there to protect your privacy.
It's really unbelievable still, aside from the technical convenience that our lives can be hacked, can be looked into like that. Also, I mean, the United States has been accusing China or Russia as being the biggest hackers in the world and constantly making big stories out of it. But at this moment, it turns out that the CIA is the biggest hacker in the world. Qinduo, what is your comment on that?
Well, this is in a sense, interesting, ironic. The United States has been, as you said, criticizing China, Russia, and other countries for hacking into U.S. computers or other companies, either government agencies. But the things like, there's accusation against Russia for intervening in the U.S. election or hacking into computers or email box. But so far, there's little evidence, hard evidence, to support that accusation. But what we see here is obviously the CIA. I mean, again, revolution after the 2013 Snowden case, now revolution of their hacking methods and the collection basically of those methods and the ways to invade in the personal privacy, and also against obviously other governments and other probably like civilian institutes, like what happened, as we know, university in China and also headquarters of a Huawei technology company was invaded and hacked by CIA.
I think this is a very interesting phenomenon because basically a lot of people in the United States is saying that the fact that Donald Trump was able to be elected the president of the United States is largely because of the leaked information as a result of hacking into the emails of the Democratic National Convention. But now, after this Wikileaks story broke, the White House has a different attitude. Let's hear what the White House spokesman Sean Spicer said the other day at a news briefing, that Trump administration is extremely concerned with the Wikileaks story, that they intend to be tough on leakers. Anybody who leaks classified information will be held to the highest degree of law. Spicer also emphasized that the one leaked classified information should be held to law. How about the one who practiced that? That is my question. How about the one who practiced the hacking? I mean, shouldn't we be asking the question whether the US has the right to do all of that instead of accusing the people not to leak this information? Gentlemen.
Well, I think, of course, when Donald Trump talked about leakage, in a sense, he talked about the leakage from his government to the media. We know there's an ongoing war between Donald Trump administration and the U.S. media. So that's where the term comes from, so-called deep state. Some Obama administration holdout officials somehow leaked the message, information to the media. That's what he called the deep state. The problem over there, the leakage. He's very annoyed by the leakage, the practice over there. And when it comes to the CIA practice, as I said, within the United States is a different matter from the issue concerned other countries, obviously. So I think for other governments and also people living outside the United States, people probably should raise awareness and do whatever they can to protect themselves.
Finally, Mr. Schober, the FBI Director James Comey warned Wednesday that the Americans should not have expectations of absolute privacy. How do you view this?
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's still a perception. We do not have clear privacy and clear security here in America, although we can take personal steps to minimize that we're being spied on. As crazy as it sounds, you could cover up your camera on your smartphone, on your laptop. These are steps that we can take to give us some level of privacy, but we really should think before we type something, before we text something, and use end-to-end encryption where we can. These things are available, and it minimizes the amount of information that we put out there that might compromise our security. And it's good too that with yesterday, they talked about Wikileaks is now going to share some of the information with technology companies, the vulnerabilities, and I think that's extremely important, so Apple and Google and Microsoft and other companies can make sure that these vulnerabilities are patched so hackers will not further exploit these.
But again, we have a formidable enemy, that is the government of the United States, who has the most strong security, technological advantage in the cyberspace. That's a big topic. We're not going to go into there. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Mr. Scott Schober joining us from New York,
Thank you.
and Qinduo joining us here in the studio.